The Price of Revenge, a small-town American tragedy in the heart of rural America, where rolling fields stretch beyond the horizon and small towns hold stories of both love and betrayal. There lived a young man named Ethan Walker. His town, Maplewood, Texas, was one of those places where everyone knew everyone, a town where secrets rarely stayed hidden and pride was worth more than gold. Ethan grew up the son of a humble farmer. His father, Jacob Walker, was respected across Maplewood for his honesty and hard work. His mother, Mary, was the warmth of their little wooden home, always reminding Ethan that kindness was the truest strength a man could carry. Life was simple: early mornings in the fields, long evenings with neighbors, and church bells ringing on Sundays. But simplicity does not protect one from cruelty. Ethan's life took a turn the day his father was cheated by a man named Charles Miller, a wealthy landowner in the same town. Charles wasn't just rich. He was cunning, proud, and willing to crush anyone who stood in his way. When Jacob Walker trusted him with a land deal, Charles manipulated the papers, stealing not only their farmland, but also their dignity. Within months, the Walker family lost everything. The betrayal broke Jacob's spirit. A man who once stood tall now sat silently on his porch, staring at the horizon, his hands trembling not from age, but from defeat. Mary tried to hold the family together, but Ethan could see her crying when no one was watching. And then came the night that sealed Ethan's fate. It was a stormy evening when Jacob Walker collapsed in their small house. The doctor said it was his heart, but Ethan knew better. It was despair that had killed his father, despair born from betrayal. As he stood by his father's grave under the gray Texas sky, Ethan clenched his fists. That was the day revenge became his purpose, the rise of a burning soul. Ethan was no longer the naive farm boy. His eyes carried fire, and his heart carried a wound too deep to heal. He worked day and night, taking up odd jobs across Maplewood, saving every penny, building strength in his body and sharpness in his mind. Neighbors whispered that Ethan had changed. Some said he was dangerous. Others said he was just broken. But Ethan had only one thought: Charles Miller would pay. Charles, meanwhile, lived in his grand estate on the edge of town. He was celebrated in the town council, respected by businessmen, and feared by the poor. To him, the Walkers were just another family he had crushed under his boots. He never once looked back, but Ethan never forgot. Over the years, Ethan studied Charles's every move. He learned about his business deals, his connections, his weaknesses. He discovered that behind the wealth, Charles was a coward, a man who used others to do his dirty work. And then, fate gave Ethan the chance he had been waiting for: the reckoning. One summer evening, when the whole town had gathered for the annual Maplewood Fair, Ethan saw Charles standing proudly at the center of it all, giving speeches, shaking hands, pretending to be the town's savior. But Ethan knew the truth. He remembered the nights his mother went hungry, the mornings his father's eyes were filled with shame as fireworks lit up the Texas sky. Ethan confronted Charles. The crowd gasped as the two men stood face to face. "Do you remember my father?" Ethan's voice cut through the music and laughter. Charles smirked, pretending not to care. "I've dealt with many men, boy. Your father was weak." Those words burned Ethan's soul. He grabbed Charles by the collar and shouted, "Weak! No! He trusted you. And you killed him with your lies." The crowd went silent. For the first time, the truth spilled into the open. People who had admired Charles now looked at him with suspicion. Charles tried to laugh it off, but the town had already begun to whisper. Ethan didn't stop. He pulled out the documents he had collected over the years, proof of Charles's fraud, standing in the middle of the fairground, under the red, white, and blue banners of America. Ethan exposed every crime Charles had committed. The sheriff had no choice but to arrest Charles Miller. The weight of revenge, Ethan had done it. His father's name was cleared. The town saw the truth, and Charles was taken away in chains. But when Ethan walked back to his quiet home, something inside him felt empty. He had carried revenge for so long that he didn't know who he was without it. His mother, Mary, looked at him with tears in her eyes. "You fought for your father's honor, Ethan, but don't let revenge steal your soul the way betrayal stole your father's," she whispered. Ethan realized then that revenge might bring justice, But it never truly brings peace. His father would never return. His childhood would never return. What remained was only the choice to live, to heal and to rebuild. The moral in America's small towns: pride and betrayal often walk hand in hand. Ethan's story was not just about revenge. It was about the cost of carrying hatred. For too long, revenge may light a fire in your heart, but if you are not careful, it will burn everything you love. If this story touched your heart, then don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Heartfelt. Stories